This series begins with a girl, Noguchi Yoa, who's just begun high school in 1998. On her very first day, she got in trouble for not wearing the right uniform. But she was lucky because the teacher stopped punishing her when Namiki Harumichi, a guy who rides a motorbike, showed up. The teacher went after Harumichi instead, and Yoa started liking him because he helped her out. She even watched him secretly from far away. Yoa is really pretty and nice, so she's super popular at school and a lot of guys like her. They keep telling her how they feel, but she's always polite when she says no. Harumichi, who hangs out on the school roof during breaks, sees lots of guys confessing to Yoa. He's happy she says no because he secretly likes her too. One time, a guy named Daisuke asked Yoa to come to the roof. He tried to tell her how he felt by asking about her favorite food, but he got embarrassed and left before she could answer. At the same time, Harumichi, who was up on the school roof, saw Daisuke and started laughing. There, Yoa was surprised cause she didn't expect to see Harumichi on the roof. She then asked Harumichi what Daisuke meant by his question, and Harumichi explained that Daisuke was trying to tell her how he felt about her. Yoa was curious, so she also asked Harumichi about his favorite food, and he answered without realizing that she liked him too. Later that evening, Harumichi realized what Yoa meant on the school roof, so he quickly put on his coat and went to talk to her. He wanted to express his feelings and ask her out on a date. Turns out, Yoa had liked him for a long time, so she said yes. They started dating and spent a lot of time together, even listening to a song called First Love. Day by day, their relationship got stronger, but when they graduated from high school, they had to go to different universities. Harumichi wanted to be a pilot, so he went to flight school in Hokkaido, while Yoa went to Tokyo University to become a flight attendant. Even though they were far apart, they always made time to talk and stay connected. One day, Yoa, who had always wanted to study in another country, got the chance to go to Canada through a student exchange program. She was excited to tell Harumichi when they met because he had plans to go to Tokyo. A few days later, Harumichi surprised Yoa by visiting her campus. They were both happy to see each other after a long time. They went to a cafe to chat, but things got awkward when Yoa's friends, Kimitsu Nanako and Machida Tsunya, joined them. Yoa's friends started talking about Harumichi's flight school, which made the situation uncomfortable. Later, Tsunya approached Harumichi when he was alone and told him that Yoa was going abroad for the student exchange program. Harumichi, already upset about his school being belittled, became even more emotional upon hearing this news. On the way home, Harumichi expressed his frustration to Yoa for not telling him about her plans. Yoa tried to explain her intentions, but Harumichi didn't want to listen and walked away. Later, when he calmed down, Harumichi called Yoa to apologize for his harsh words. But just as he was about to hear her response, he heard a crash through his phone. He rushed back to where he had left her and found Yoa unconscious in the middle of the road after an accident. At that moment, Yoa had an accident and went to the hospital. After her treatment, the doctor told her that she had lost her memory from high school, but remembered her childhood and her mom. Yoa's mom, Noguchi Kihako, was disappointed in Harumichi for not taking better care of her daughter. So she talked to him and asked him to break up with Yoa because of her condition. After that, Yoa went back to Hokkaido and didn't continue her studies. Harumichi kept trying to reach out to her, but she never answered his calls. He felt guilty about the accident but didn't want to lose Yoa, so he sent her letters. In 2003, Harumichi went to Yoa's house to find out what happened to her. Kihako, who gave him a box with all the letters he had sent to Yoa over the years. Surprisingly, Kihako hadn't given any of the letters to her daughter. She also told Harumichi to forget about Yoa, who was pregnant and going to marry a doctor named Kosaka Yukido, who had been treating Yoa. Hearing that, Harumichi was heartbroken and decided to burn all the letters and try to move on with his life. A few years later, because of an injury, Harumichi decided to stop being a pilot and became a security guard at the Northern Light Building in Sapporo, Hokkaido. He hadn't seen or talked to Yoa since their love story ended. But one day, while he was in a taxi, he accidentally saw Yoa driving another taxi. Sadly, his taxi took a different route, and he couldn't catch up with her. At his workplace, Harumichi tried to find out which taxi company Yoa worked for and went there to meet her. However, he found out that she was on vacation. One night, a junior high school student named Kosaka Suzuru, who often visited the Northern Light building, introduced Harumichi to his mother, who had come to pick him up. Harumichi was surprised to learn that Suzuru's mother was actually Yae, the woman he had been searching for. She pretended not to remember him because she hadn't regained her lost memory. Now let's talk about Suzuru. He's a 14-year-old teenager who is Yae's son. His parents divorced in 2007, and he had to live with his father, Yukito. Suzuru has to focus on his schoolwork every day, which means he has to put aside his love for music. Just like any other teenagers, Suzuru developed a crush on a girl named Komori Uta, who would secretly dance at the Northern Light building. So Suzuru asked for help from Harumichi, who worked there, to introduce him to Uta. After that, Suzuru started talking to Harumichi quite often. He even shared the story of his parents' divorce and how his mom, Yae, now lives alone after the divorce. One day, Suzuru mentioned to Harumichi that his mom had to go to the dry cleaners every night because her washing machine was broken. Harumichi, concerned about Yae being alone at the laundromat late at night, decided to follow her there. He found Yae asleep while waiting for her laundry. Instead of waking her up, Harumichi watched over her with a smile. When Yae woke up and saw Harumichi there, she was surprised. He told her not to go to the laundromat alone, as it could be unsafe for women. He offered to fix her broken washing machine once she finished doing her laundry. From that day on, they grew close again and spent a lot of time together. Harumichi eventually introduced his girlfriend, our recall as Tsunemi, to Yae. Even though Yae was surprised, she tried to act normal and quickly said goodbye, worried that she might be interrupting Harumichi and Tsunemi. A few years back, Tsunemi, who is a psychologist, met Harumichi in 2010 at Fuji Air Base in Tokyo. She was assigned to study Harumichi's psychology after he returned from war. They got closer and decided to start a romantic relationship, which continues to this day. Now, let's talk about Yae. One night, while Yae was driving passengers to the Northern Light building, one of her passengers quickly left the taxi and left his cell phone behind. Yae tried to catch up with him and return the phone, but she couldn't find him until he stopped on the stairs. At the same time, the man who was her passenger hurried down the stairs, and Yae planned to give him his cell phone back. Unfortunately, he pushed her, causing her to fall down the stairs. Luckily, Harumichi, who saw her about to fall, caught Yae and saved her. This incident revealed that the man who had been in her taxi was a thief, and he managed to escape from Harumichi and his partner. Harumichi, on the other hand, had to go to the hospital because he fell and became unconscious. While at the hospital, Yae learned that Harumichi had been a pilot with a back injury, and the incident from the previous night had made his back injury worse. She felt guilty about what had happened to Harumichi. So when he was released from the hospital, she offered to be his private driver for free until his back treatment was complete. Harumichi was delighted to be close to Yae again. On the last day, she served as his personal driver. He asked her to take him to Mount Tangu, a place they had visited in high school. They rode the cable car, enjoying the mountain view, and Harumichi remembered their shared memories, even though Yae didn't feel the same way. One evening, while Yae was enjoying the beautiful view of Sapporo City, Harumichi asked her about her high school days. But she didn't want to talk about it, because she felt like she didn't achieve much when she was young. She admitted that she often felt like she had lost something valuable. When Harumichi heard this, he got carried away and kissed her. However, he quickly realized his mistake and apologized. Yae asked him to forget about the kiss and said it didn't mean anything to her because she didn't have feelings for him. The next day, Harumichi started to worry about his relationship with Tsunemi, especially when he realized he still had feelings for Yae. He tried to talk to Tsunemi about their marriage plans, but she avoided the discussion because she noticed that Harumichi's attitude had changed since Yae had came into his life. Finally, Tsunemi realized that she couldn't force her feelings, so she decided to end her relationship with Harumichi and let him be with the woman he truly loved. A few days later, Yae suddenly invited Harumichi to meet at a restaurant. He hurried to get there, but when he arrived, he called Yae to say that he couldn't come and had to say goodbye, because he was leaving Japan to pursue his dream of becoming a pilot abroad once again. To Yae's surprise, she confessed her feelings to him and admitted that she regretted lying and pretending not to like him when he kissed her earlier. She also said sorry for having feelings for him while he had a girlfriend, and she wished him happiness with Tsunemi. Even though Harumichi had the same feelings for Yae, he decided to leave her and put his first love behind by going abroad. After Harumichi left, Yae was shocked to find out from Suzu-ru that Harumichi had broken up with Tsunemi before moving abroad. Soon after, Suzu-ru played a CD given by Harumichi, and Yae, curious, listened to the song First Love. This triggered her memories, and suddenly, she started recalling a young man who kept appearing in her memories, and she realized it was Harumichi. Finally, she regained all her lost memories from the past and realized that the person she had liked for the past few months was her forgotten first love. This brought tears to her eyes as she remembered all the beautiful and painful moments. Some time later, Yae returned to her hometown to dig up a box she and Harumichi had buried under a tree. When she opened it, she found all the memories they had shared. There, Yae collected all the items from the box and took Suzu-ru with her to catch up with Uta, who was leaving to go abroad. She also tried to encourage her son, telling him he could achieve anything he wanted, including his dream of becoming a musician. As days passed, Yae continued with her life, missing Harumichi. Eventually, she decided to search for her first love. Unfortunately, in 2020, the COVID-19 outbreak made it difficult for everyone to travel, including Yae. She had to abandon her plans to find Harumichi. 3 years later, the pandemic began to go away, and Suzu-ru succeeded in achieving his dream of becoming a famous musician. Even his father, who initially didn't support his dream, started to accept it by putting up a poster of Suzu-ru in his study. One day, while Uta was showing photos of her trip to Iceland to Suzu-ru, he noticed a picture of Harumichi that had accidentally been captured on his girlfriend's camera. He immediately informed Yae about Harumichi's whereabouts, which making her go to that country right away. On the airplane, Yae read a letter from Harumichi that talked about their first meeting on a train to Kdrama, when they were going to take a practice high school entrance exam. Back then, Harumichi realized he had fallen in love with her. He even found out which high school Yae was planning to attend, and it happened to be a top-notch school. He was determined to study harder to get into the same school as her. Harumichi admitted that meeting Yae had changed him from being a troublesome student to someone with a clear purpose in life. Yae also discovered another letter that Harumichi had kept in his memory box with her before he left for abroad. In that letter, he expressed his happiness to know that Yae was doing well and hoped they would remember all the stories of their first love when they reunited. After a long journey from Japan, Yae finally reached Keflavik Airport in Iceland. She saw Harumichi from a distance, waiting for all the passengers to board the plane he was going to pilot. Without any hesitation, Yae shouted Harumichi's name. He was taken by surprise and couldn't believe that Yae had come to see him. Yae then ran toward Harumichi and gave him a hug, telling him that he was her first love, a memory she had forgotten in the past. Harumichi, realizing that Yae had regained her memory, feeling happy. In the end of the series, it shows Harumichi getting ready to pilot his plane, while Yae finally fulfills her childhood dream by becoming a flight attendant on the same plane. And the series ends. The moral lesson from this series is if you ever lose your memory, just crank up your favorite tunes and break your washing machine. Who knows, you might just remember your high school crush and fix your love life at the same time.